Welcome to another episode of the Valorant Tips and Tricks Sent by You series. A series where I show tons of Valorant tips and tricks that you guys sent to me. Huh? What? Did MrLowlander just post a new video? Yes, my friends, you see it right. MrLowlander is posting again. The last video I posted on this channel was like a month ago. I took a small break, went on some vacations, but now I'm back in the Netherlands, reunited with Bobber again, and back on the video making grind. Now sit back, relax, and let's start with an insane waylay trick that got spammed into my Discord server by a lot of different people. Here's the thing. Usually, if you want to dash over something with waylay, you can't get very far if you just do a single dash. Like you see in the background, I don't really go over the hut over here. So if you want to go for an aggressive waylay dash, many people will use a double dash, but the problem with that is that it takes a very long time before you can shoot. So what's the fix? It's very simple. Go to a corner, like over here on the hut, aim a little bit up. In this example, you should line up with a line, then simply do one single dash, and you dash over the hut, but while you're mid-air, you will take your gun in your hand, so you can shoot immediately when you land. And this mechanic you can actually use on a lot of different spots, for example also over here on Fracture, and in extreme cases even over here on Ascent. Yup, you'll be able to look all the way over the wall into a site. Now the big question, is this a glitch? To be honest, in some cases I do think it's a glitch, like the Ascent one, but I don't really think that the one on Pearl is a glitch. I see it more like a jet super dash, you know. Though still be careful with using it, because if it is a glitch, then you might get banned, and we don't want that of course. No worries though, this next tricky doesn't get you banned. And for it, I want you to take a look at this clip. Yup, in case you missed it, the tricky you can do on Icebox or actually any map is to place a graffiti behind you and then stand in front of the graffiti in the hopes that the enemies will have a hard time finding your head. This trick is especially good on head glitch spots, and if you are wondering, this will be the enemy's perspective. That's just unfair, my friends. You will tilt the enemies for sure with this one. There's one thing you need to keep in mind though if you want to use this trick. Don't use your spray before the barriers are going down, because then your spray will disappear. Instead, wait till the barriers are going down, then spray behind you, and then hope that the enemies will peek before your spray disappears. Okay, next tricky. While we're on Icebox, take a look at this clip.
Light planted.
Wow, genius, bravo. This is one of those Valorant tricks that I think that everybody knew that is possible, but nobody is using this in game. That's a waste though, so hop into a custom game, practice this cool little jump, and get those enemies with your smooth movement. Now it's time to go to Corrode, because recently something cool got discovered. When you make your way to a site, you see these thick walls over here, right? Well, my friends, these walls are of course solid, unless you are using a race satchel. Like you see, if you stand behind the wall, it will just fly straight through. A very strange mechanic that only works with the race satchel, not the race grenade or other molotovs, and at first glance you might think, okay, pretty useless mechanic. Well, my friends, you actually can use this glitch. If you for example plant the spike on the side and then use your satchel through the wall on the spike, you might be able to deny enemies planting, but this trick of course is bug abuse, so I would not recommend to use it during a game. Also, Vaseline, congrats, you won this video's battle pass, my friend. Let's move on now. There was this one clip in my Discord that brought up a lot of questions. Take a look at it. Okay, what exactly happened in this round? Well, like you see, the enemy Gecko used his Molotov in pit, and then it looked like Reyna was jumping on his teammate to dodge the Gecko molly. And I was wondering, is this possible? Or did the molly simply miss because it was out of range? I wanted to find this out, so I hopped into a custom game, did some tests, and here's what I found out. First of all, if you throw the molly on a good way into pit, it will extend on the ramp, and then there's no way to dodge this ability. This means that in the previous clip, the molly simply was out of range. However, even though the molly was out of range, I still wanted to know if you could actually dodge the molly by standing on the teammate. So I moved my teammate into a different corner, threw the molly on the ground, tried to jump on my teammate, and look at that, I actually stayed alive. This means that yes, you can dodge a Gecko molly by jumping on your teammate. However, one bad side, your teammate will sadly die of course. So this will probably be never used in game, but still, if you want to be a true hero, go to a corner, crouch for your teammate, and die like a hero. And while we're analyzing clips, here's another one where something strange happened. Take a look at it. Okay, what happened over here? Is the glitch? Was Sage suddenly invisible? Let's dive in. At first I thought that Sage was using this tricky. In the defender spawn you can place your Sage wall over here, then shoot through this wall, and with a bit of luck you can get some blind wallbang kills into middle. It's a pretty good trick. However, in the round of Osme, this didn't happen. Because if you look at the minimap, you are able to see the agent icon of Sage in middle. This means that this round was definitely a glitch. No idea why Sage was invisible over here, but very unlucky, my friend. Next tricky. okay, recently I made a video about tricks that you never should use. And one of those tricks was the operator to chamber ultimate combo. In theory, if you shoot with an operator, then switch to your chamber ultimate, you can go for 2 very quick shots back to back. Sounds like a cool trick, but in reality, it's very useless, right? Well, maybe I need to take my words back, and that's because of this clip over here. What? The double tap operator combo is being used in game? That's actually insane. Well played, Sean. Though, even though it worked in game, I still wouldn't recommend it. It's more of a trick shot than a real trick. And this reminds me, trick shots. Let's take a small break from the tricks to showcase some trick shots. The theme of this episode, lucky shots. Which player do you think is the luckiest? First clip, a Sheriff Collateral. Perfect. Nice, nice. Next one, a walking headshot with a Vandal in the same game. Huh? What? Okay, we gotta slow-mo that. Look at that shot. That's insanely lucky, Genius. Then we have a lucky spray down. And let's end the lucky shot with this insane Kikli shot. Honestly, did you see the enemy over there? I think we also need the slow-mo of this one. Well played, my friend. Back to the tricks now. Let's go to sunset, because there's an angle that I never knew existed. Here's how it goes. When you're standing in middle, you can jump on the cardboard over here and look towards B side. And at first glance, you might think, okay, cool, I don't see anything, right? But you're wrong, because this square is actually a gap, which goes all the way to the entry of the side. This means that if you know for sure that mid is clear, because the enemies all have taken B, you want to save your gun, but you also want to go for an exit frag, then this angle might be a good angle for you, in the hope that an enemy will push aggressively and you can get a kill while saving your gun. And while we're on sunset, who remembers this trick?
You want to play? Let's play.
Yep, a pretty nice way to play aggressively that doesn't get used enough. Consider trying it out in your next game if you play an agent with an escape. Now it's time to talk about Sage. Okay, what happened to Sage? I was just taking a small break of Valorant, I come back, and what do I see? Clips like this.
Wall raised. One enemy remaining.
Yeah, if you lived under a rock, like I did for the past few weeks, then you might have missed it, but Rito Games increased the range of the Sage wall and the Sage ultimate. But what does this exactly mean? Well, my friends, the fact that your wall range got increased means that you can use your wall in a little more aggressive way. For example, by pushing out of a smoke like you saw in the last clip, or even placing a very deep wall when the barriers are just going down, and then peek behind it like it's Genius did in this clip.
Wall raised.
The perfect update for all the aggressive Sage mains. Did you know that if you die under the tube with Clove and then use the Clove ultimate, you will actually spawn in the tube? A very strange mechanic that actually can be useful.
Last player standing.
I would be very confused if I were the enemy in this round. Let's go back to buy now for a cool waylay tricky. With waylay, if you place down your refract, go through the teleporter and then use your ability, you will go back through the enemy's territory, so the enemies will know when you go back to your spawn point. And this might not always be a very good thing if you want to be sneaky. So my friends, did you know that you can fake teleport with the waylay refract? If you jump into the teleporter and use your refract as soon as you go through, you will go back to your spawn point the quick way and the enemies will hear the teleporter sound. Use this tricky to fake the enemies out, the same way as you would do it with the Omen Shrouded Steps, and voila, sneaky peeky place for you. Now a question for you, did you ever smoke the spike to try to go for a ninja defuse? This is a common tactic, I think a lot of people used this trick before, but something that maybe not a lot of people have used before is using 2 smokes on the spike to create a smoke inside a smoke and then go for a ninja. Wow, big brain strat. Well played, my friend, easy peasy ninja for you. And that, my friends, was the last trick of this video. Big shout out to everyone who submitted in a trick. If you got any cool tricks, don't forget to send them in the Lowlander Discord server. You might win a battle pass in next episode, and I see you guys then. Bye bye.